hundreds
another
of them.
Zionist shield.
He
Is that
hates
all you can
anyone
do?
that's remotely supportive of Israel. Have you noticed?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're paid for by the prostitutes.
Who?
Lawrence Foxes, Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage. The most important
So
thing.
who do you like?
The most important
Who do you like?
thing.
Big up.
Apart from Street
Well, I think Street Mike's part of it as well. He's a YouTuber. I mean, he's a Tommy Robinson fan.
We can talk about that soon. I got his book.
Right, well, I haven't. I can tell you that for now.
So who do you support?
Well, hold on, let me tell you about the BFI, who he thinks is the
British Film Institute,
but
yes.
it's not. It's actually the Politburo, Nigel Farage's political party. It is the
Politburo. What do you mean by that?
Because basically, the Politburo is the East German Stasi. Yeah? Basically, there is no democratic accountability in Nigel Farage's political party.
That's
and
wrong.
before
That's
he got,
wrong.
before
You're so out of date.
oh, is he renewed it? Is he?
No,
but what
it's got a new approved written constitution. He's given over his shares. It's no longer a PLC. You are so out of date.
Well, it wasn't for the general election, was it? And it wasn't for the Brexit
No, it
party
was as
either.
of the conference in
And it
Birmingham,
wasn't.
NEC,
right,
what,
all right.
3,
So
4 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm 3 weeks out of
Keep
date.
up to date.
How long ago was the general election?
Because it was a new,
But
because it was a
let
new
me-
party.
look,
It
guess
was a
what he's
new
done?
party. Now it's got a branch structure.
So was the
It's got a
Brexit party.
It's got a democratic
He
constitution.
scammed everyone
You're
for
out
their
of
money.
date.
I wasn't out of date
believe
for the
everything
Brexit
you
party.
read, don't you? On Twitter?
Right, no, I do. I know for a fact that he turned around when he left the UKIP. He left the UKIP because they had an NEC. They made him accountable, and he didn't like it. So when he set up the Brexit Party, he had no NEC. Has he got an NEC in the?
And what did
Has he got an NEC?
and what did UKIP do? They let in Tommy Robinson, who you don't like. So
Oh, he's
presumably
a
you were
supporter of
supporting
Tommy Robinson, right? But what happened was, that all those people, I think that the people behind the NEC were the real Brexiteers in the UK when we look back. Right? That's why Nigel Farage didn't like him, because he's always been working for the state. Now let's go back to what the BFI is. The first thing he done when they become members, they done the British Friends of Israel. And that means he is bought and paid for by the Israeli lobby groups. He's a shield, just like the Conservative Friends of Israel, just like the Labour Friends of Israel, just like the Liberal Democrats Friends of Israel. They've all got it. All our political parties are slaves to the Israeli lobby groups. And that's all Nigel Farage is. Now you tell me who I support. I used to be in the BNP, right? And Nick Griffin, who's meant to be this highly racist guy, right? All he is a freedom fighter for his country. Yeah? You might not like that. But
Why didn't we
anyway,
let black people in there? Why couldn't black people join the BNP?
but they was going to bring a law out to bring black people out.
Well, yeah, and then they had to change. Then they had to change to exist.
The reason why
did the BNP not like black
Big
people?
up Nick Griffin. Big up Nick. Big up Nick.
Don't big up Nick Griffin.
Big him up,
All
big
the
him up, big him
Muslims,
up.
right, were joining him on Twitter. And why was they joining? You don't like it. You don't like it.
Joining in anti-Semitism,
What's all that? What's all
joining
that?
anti-Semitic hate. That's why the Muslims
Well,
would have been doing
if you
that.
don't want to listen to me, I'll talk to
come
myself.
together.
So what happened with Nick Griffin? He was no, I ain't running. I'm
We're
here.
listening. I believe
Oh,
in
but you
freedom
keep
of
going,
speech,
what?
and I'm allowing
I
the
don't
freedom
do
of
that. I can't
speech.
do that.
Well, I grew up next to the Neil Carnival, didn't I?
Was
So
that
look,
why you can roll your tongue?
right, so what happened was, right, Nick Griffin was telling everyone on Twitter, their Twitter is Elon Musk, right, and he believes in free speech. What a load of codswallop, right? Because Nick Griffin was turning round and saying that what we've got to do, the religious people in this country have got to join up against the bigger enemy, which is Zionism, right? Zionism is the real bigger enemy.
How is Zionism
Hold on,
harming
can I
your
finish what I'm
life?
saying?
How is Zionism harming you and your family?
Zionists run all the vaccine companies.
How is that
right?
harming you and
they,
your family?
They want to
Well,
kill us all.
GlaxoSmithKline.
The military.
Let's look at GlaxoSmithKline.
run by Zionism.
Can I ask a question?
Controls
Can I ask a
GlaxoSmithKline.
question to educate people? What is Zionism?
Zionism is a supremacist ideology created by Theodore Herzl around about 1890 odd, right? And he tried to blackmail the Rothschilds, right, and said, I'm going to force millions of Russians into Israel and you're going to have to feed them. And Rothschild wasn't going to do that. So he threatened them, he said he was going to force them in there, and then all of a sudden he just died in 1904, and Rothschild became the head of Zionism, right? And what they did, they got Hitler through the Avar Agreement, right? And they went up to Hitler. Only 2 flags were allowed to be flown in Nazi Germany, and that was the Zionist flag. I don't call it National Socialist Germany, but the socialists hated him because he wasn't an internationalist, he was for his own folk. But they ridiculed him and called him a Nazi, which meant he was a National Zionist. Right? But what he was actually doing, he was actually training people in college so they could go out to Palestine and learn how to farm the land in a semi-desert country. And then because the Zionists had lots of money, then they would pay him to make farming equipment, and he would send it out to Palestine, right? So that they could, and because this way he didn't have to pay for it like Theodore Herzl wanted to do it. It was done in the kibbutz system, where he doesn't want to hear it.
No, I don't really want to be on film with someone spouting such nonsense.
Because
such
he don't like the truth.
Nonsense. Even your definition of Zionism is so way off.
It's a super. Why did Adolf Hitler only allow 2 flags to be flown in Germany? The Zionist flag and the swastika.
Because Hitler was really Jew-friendly, wasn't he?
No, well,
you fool.
Well,
you
was
fool.
he? No, was he or what?
Yeah, Hitler was
he
a
was
great friend to
Zionist
the
friendly.
Jews,
We're
wasn't
talking
he?
about Zionism. You asked me what Zionism
How
was.
many Jews?
It's a supremacy.
How many
Do you understand
Jews consider themselves Zionists?
I knew anyway.
Quite a high
I wanted
percentage,
you
isn't it?
to give me your interpretation because I believe in freedom of speech, even though you may make yourself silly in doing so.
I'd like to answer atheist Steve, right? Because he's not speaker's corners. No, he hates free speech, right? He heckles people, he shouts them down.
Heckling, it's been going on there for 150
what he
years.
actually does, he tries to stop people's free speech, right? So what
Have
I
I
would
ever
actually
stopped
do,
you?
he's doing it now.
Have I ever
what I would
stopped
like to
you?
do,
Never.
what I'd like to
Never.
say
I've never stopped.
about Russia. Russia never had freedom of speech like England did. England created freedom of speech. So you don't expect the Russians to believe in freedom of speech.
You don't like it.
I do like freedom of speech, but I don't expect that from Russia. You seem to want to
So
instill
totalitarianism is okay in
you
some
want to
places.
instill your values on other countries. That's a
freedom,
form of fascism.
freedom of religion,
That is a
freedom
form
of
of fascism.
speech,
What,
freedom to
the
gather.
rules
you
based-
don't think they're proper human rights that the entire
The
world should
rules-based
enjoy?
international order. That's what you're
No,
doing.
we're talking about natural freedoms,
Well, no.
human-based
Yeah,
freedoms.
but every country, that's why it's sovereign, the people in that country decide themselves.
But they don't.
Well, you know
How
what?
do
It's none
they
of
do
your
that?
business.
How are the people of North Korea decided their fate?
How do you know the people of North Korea might be happy? Do you believe the propaganda that's told about the people of North Korea? Right? I don't. Right?
So
I don't
what is the
believe it.
reality of North Korea?
I don't know, I don't live it there, but what I do, I don't believe what my BBC tells me. I just don't believe it.
Well, I've watched many
What the
documentaries
Russians-
on North Korea, and none of them
what
have
the
been
Russians
BBC.
and Chinese are doing
None
now-
of them
Big
have
up
been
the
BBC.
BBC,
They're not doing-
Black Broadcasting Corporation.
Well, let's go back to the Black Bit. Let's go to the BBC. When Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, he turned around and said, I'm going to bring out a rule. I'm going to abolish the BBC and take away the licence fee. And everyone was jumping up and down celebrating. But he wasn't really saying that. What he was actually saying to the BBC, he wasn't talking to us, he was talking to the BBC. Do as I say, because there's going to be a lot of bad things happening soon. Because it was a pandemic. It wasn't a pandemic, it was a plan. There is no such thing as viruses. Viruses don't exist. COVID-19 has never been
When you
isolated.
do certain things,
Utter you ignorant.
I cannot continue because of
Because he don't believe in free
What's
speech.
behind a
No,
common cold?
it's that-
What gives you a common cold?
So you think it's
now
a
I'm
virus?
talking
Answer the
about-
question. What gives you a common cold?
Right, I'll answer
Answer.
that
Is it a
question.
bacteria?
I will,
What is it?
I will answer that question. It's really, really simple. We all have an immune system. And inside your immune system, right, if you get run
To him,
down,
Steve.
if you get run down, right, like through stress or whatever, you're not eating
your
the right
immunity
food,
falls.
your immunity falls down and things come to the fore.
What are those
inside you.
things? What are those things when you get a common cold?
Exomes.
Sorry?
Exomes,
What
not
are,
viruses.
what are exomes?
Well, these are things that are different from what we've been told they are. They're not
So you
viruses.
just use a different word, exomes, and not
Well, it's
viruses.
not a virus.
What is an exome?
No one's ever seen a virus.
Well, because they're very small, you fool.
Oh, so
I've never seen it.
COVID-19, plenty of countries ask.
What is an exome? What is an exome?
So, AIDS.
What is an exome? Describe it.
I'm not a doctor, but
Well,
so
you've
you
heard,
asked me what they
you've
were
heard the
called.
word. How
You
do
asked me
you
what
know? How
they
do you
were
know it's
called.
not just another word for a virus?
But it isn't.
Anyway,
What is it?
Steve,
I can
You get
explain to
bans
you
on
what.
YouTube
I can
when you-
explain to
when
you.
I know, see, because
So I'm moving
because
away. It's
what's
not
your
that-
name again?
Hold on. Let me explain to you. It's not because I would like you to say whatever you like. But when it comes to the COVID, the C word, YouTube bans you. Hence the reason I'm
What's your
moving
name?
on.
What's your name?
I can be like Ross Clark, know who I am.
It's a
man.
blood clot,
Well,
man.
you're
Just
pussy
ask you
whore.
your blood clot name, man.
Wendell Daniel from
Right,
Street,
Wendell.
mate, big up.
Wendell. what I'll say is stop going on YouTube, right, and being a shill. Come on BitChute and Rumble, where you can say these sort of things.
And no
while you're
one-
on YouTube, you're on a platform, right, just because you go live, right, you're on a platform that is going to challenge your free speech. If you believe in free speech, get off YouTube.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course you can.
It's a clear demonstration you don't know anything. Yeah.
Well, you just said you've got to go away.
95% of the stuff I do is on a private channel, which I pay over £10,000 per year. Yeah. No, it's private. Yeah. So when I need to do the stuff I need to do, I do it privately. I do things on social media because some people love social media and it's free. But having free has consequences, like you get banned.
Right, can I answer?
I'll move
Can I answer?
on,
Can
but
I
we
answer?
can come back.
Answer
because I
without-
need to.
without
But I
causing-
need to engage with Steve.
All right, it
I'll
doesn't
come back to you.
What I would
I'll
say
come
to
back you.
Wendell,
Come, Steve.
what I'd say to Wendell is, stop going on YouTube. Stop and stop encouraging people to go on YouTube. Because when you're on YouTube, they will take your freedom away. So if we all abandon YouTube and we go on other platforms that believe in free speech, and then YouTube might have to rethink its policy. And you know, people going on YouTube is just exasperating the situation. So what I wanted to talk about now, you notice that Steve's gone away now, he doesn't want to hear the answers. What I would say is that the world's going to change on the 22nd of October in Kazan, where the BRICS countries are all meeting up. What are they meeting up for?
Why has Steve run away?
I don't know, he always does. He was having a
Have you
debate with
upset
me.
him?
Yeah, of course he gets upset.
What's his issue?
Steve is he wants to have the rules-based order enforced on other countries that don't belong to us. You know, he likes to take you know, Russia has no free speech. North Korea, who knows what it's like in North Korea? I've never been to North Korea, and I doubt he has either. Do you know what it's like in North Korea?
No.
And it's none of our business, is it? How they live in another country is their business. And that's what's created all the wars that we see today. Because we've got the rules-based, what do they call it? The rules-based world order or something. Well, Russia and China are going to bring the laws-based world order. Or I'm not actually sure. So they're going to actually bring laws in place. So not rules, laws, because no one really knows what these rules-based orders are. What are they? And I'll tell you what they are. They're for Western countries to enforce their will over all these other countries. Oh, you broke the rules-based order, so we're gonna sanction you. We're gonna do this to you. And this is where it's all got to stop. It's all got to stop because it's gone too far. The Western countries now, nobody in the rest of the world, outside the United States of America and Western Europe, take any notice of us anymore. They're not interested. We're finished. We're finished. We've been shown to be a paper tiger in Ukraine. Whatever you've been told on the BBC is lies. NATO has been demilitarised. And we've also, through our deindustrialisation, that's why we've been demilitarised, because we haven't got the ability to make the weapons that Russia's destroyed out in
Why you
Ukraine.
don't have something down here?
Pardon?
Ukraine, why you don't have that? Why you don't have anything for yourself? You don't have one of them plants yourself, the biggest plant in that side.
But because I don't quite...
Yeah, I think Ukraine, you don't have a plant
Yeah.
down here.
Well, there is a plan. What's happened is,
The plant.
the plan was to create a situation by the West, when the Warsaw Pact collapsed, we've incorporated country by country, even though we promised we wouldn't move 1 inch eastwards, NATO, as long as they allowed the two Germanys. James Baker, Secretary of State in 1990, promised Gorbachev, let the two Germanys unite and NATO will not move 1 inch eastwards. Well, 8 years later, Clinton got in and they started incorporating all these other countries in Central Europe into the European Union and into NATO, and they started putting ballistic missiles in their easternmost parts to threaten Russia. And the Russians were going, can you stop this? Putin was there, can you please stop doing this? And they went on and on and on until they got to Bulgaria, Poland, the Baltic states, and I'm a nationalist. I believe in Britain, but I don't believe that we have the right to keep aggressively having a go at Russia, right? Because basically Russia has 1/3 of the world's commodities, and that's what we want.
You know that from,
So they was going to put Ukraine into
you know
NATO.
that from history. Russia, China is communists. They don't want to mix
Russia's
with
not,
NATO.
no, Russia's
They
a
don't want
Christian
to
country.
mix. No, they
Well, they
want.
built 40,000 new churches since communism collapsed.
hear that?
Since communism collapsed in 1991. They bought, and 80% of them.
Them are communists. They don't want me to NATO.
They're not communists. They were.
They don't want me to
Communism was
NATO.
finished in 1991.
You sure about that?
They have
Why they
elections.
fight
there.
against Ukraine then? Why they fight? They
Because-
don't want NATO down there.
Well, yeah, do you want NATO? NATO is evil. NATO is an expansionist organisation that is creeping
That's why the
inwards.
war. They don't want NATO down there.
Well, would you want an organisation that's got about 30 odd countries in it, pointing ballistic missiles at you?
But everybody do it now.
Oh, so is that good, is it? So Russia's turned around and said, Ukraine, actually, on my flag, I'm going to show you something. You've got three crowns on your flag.
What flag is that? What
Well,
flag?
it's a Russian flag.
Russian.
So you've got the three crowns on that flag, right? That represents the three Russias. That's an old imperialism.
Russians,
But I'm talking to at the moment. I can only talk to one person at the moment.
Why do they
I want to ask, I'll talk to you afterwards, right? So what happens is, right, in the olden days, a Tsar used to say, I'm the Tsar of all the Russias. And there's three Russias. You've got a country called Belarus, you've got Russia itself, and then you had Little Rus. Who is Little Rus? Because there's a country called Belarus now. It's Ukraine. Ukraine has always been part of Russia. There is no country called Ukraine.
There is.
Well, yeah, well, we're not talking to you. So we can talk to you afterwards, right? And that's why he was the Tsar of all the Russias. So the point I'm trying to make is, right, Ukraine has always been in Russia's sphere of influence, and you're only about 300 miles from Moscow. So if Putin allows America to put Ukraine into NATO, Putin allows Ukraine to be put in NATO on the eastern borders of Ukraine, only be about 300 miles from Moscow. It would take about 2 or 3 minutes for some of these missiles to. So he said, no, I'm stopping it. I'm not allowing it. So at that point,
ridiculous.
we're not talking to you. You can have your turn in a minute. So he basically said that if you do this, I'm going to go in and I'm going to stop it. You've took Bulgaria, Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. You took Czech and Slovaks, right? You took the Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavian states. All of them virtually, not all of the Yugoslavian states, have been put into NATO. And NATO is an aggressive thing. It's all about, they want the commodities of Russia, which has 1/3 of the world's commodities.
But they all wanted to join NATO, those countries.
Well, yeah,
They applied to join NATO.
but NATO was about
for their security.
NATO was about to bring about the end of the Soviet Union. It ended. So NATO's job was done.
It failed. That's another story. The Soviet Union failed.
Well, right. Well, whether it failed, it was never going to last.
It's a long
But the
story.
point is, so you
Just
didn't
not
need
simple.
NATO. So what it was about the West thought they had hegemony, especially America. They thought they had hegemony over the world, right? And we heard George Herbert Walker Bush to say we've got the one world, the new world order, right? So they said that no one can stop us now. They went into Iraq, right? Who believes that 9/11 was like a load of Muslims crashing into a building? I don't. We all know now that it was created by Mossad and the CIA. There were internal explosives into the building, that's why it fell down in its own footprint. And it was an excuse to attack a load of Muslim countries surrounding Israel. So this is all part of the New World Order, on the fake premise that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. If you follow Scott Ritter, he was the weapons inspector that exposed it all. They didn't have weapons of mass destruction. They were told they had no weapons.
Situations are exploited.
Well, right.
Situations are always exploited.
And now
That's always the case.
So now they're exploiting it as well. They're taking Ukraine, or trying to, but they're not going to do it. Putin's put his foot down and said no. And actually, he's demilitarised NATO. He's shown NATO to be nothing but a paper tiger. And what is the biggest military in NATO this side of the Atlantic Ocean? What is the biggest military? Does anyone know what the biggest military is in NATO on this side of the Atlantic Ocean? It's Turkey. Right? They've applied to join. No, they would never ever be able to get their troops over to this side again. Russia has got hypersonic missiles. You'd have to bring them over by ship. They'd never get it.
Here's a question. Who is supporting Russia?
Pardon?
Who is supporting Russia?
Russia supports itself. As I say, it's
China.
got one.
China are?
Oh yeah.
Are they a threat to the West?
No.
No, not at all. I think not.
China is never ever in the days before Western imperialism, right? China never ever went out having wars to conquer the whole world, to have hegemony over the
What about
world.
Taiwan? The present situation with
Well,
Taiwan.
it's actually always been part of China.
But
You do know that the Taiwanese government had a civil war, right? It was a nationalist government, right? They had a civil war backed by the America that the communists won. secretly backed by. So what happened was they got to Taiwan and they said, well, we're still not giving up. We're not going to be part of China. But you know, it's got to a stage now where it's been going up. I mean, China's not communist anymore.
But they want
They
autonomy.
might have a communist flag.
Taiwan wants autonomy. They want their own state.
Right, well, you know what? It's between Taiwan and China. What's it got to do with you or me?
It is, yeah.
Well,
Thank
Cuba.
you.
All right, thank you. Well, let's talk about Cuba in 1960 odd, yeah? Should we talk about Cuba in the 1960s? All right, everyone happy talking about Cuba in the 1960s?
Today, America banned
Well, let's talk about Cuba. Why was it that the Soviet Union went over to put missiles in Cuba? Do you know why?
Who tell you that?
What, so they wasn't going to go and
That's
put missiles?
propaganda.
All right, well, let me tell you how I see it.
No.
All right, go on, you.
Get your facts. Don't talk
Right,
propaganda.
so the Soviet Union never had a navy going over.
No
to
missile
do
was
this.
going over there. Do we agree that there was submarine in there? Was submarine in the sea?
I've told you what I think.
Was submarine in the sea, yes or no? Submarine?
Yeah, of course it's a...
Okay, so submarine in the sea, do they have missile?
Yes.
So America have submarine in the water of the Caribbean.
How far is Cuba?
Wait,
How far
wait.
is Cuba from the
90
Florida
miles.
coast?
From Jamaica, 90 miles.
From Cuba, that's
I don't
60
talk-
miles. About 60 miles.
Right, now listen. When America have the missile, them
Come around here so you can see.
No, we can start. I don't really do politics. I'm just saying, right? Now you said some things, right? But you don't.
All right, but you're not going to. You're stopping me from
It's
saying
not,
it.
no, but it's assuming.
I've got to say it. It's very important
Okay,
to say
let me
about
ask you
it.
this question.
I want to finish
Wait,
answering
let
the
me
first
ask
question.
you this question
I'm-
because you're getting it. You're
I'm
changing
not going to
the
finish
subject.
until I finish answering the first question.
Well, answer it then.
Right, now what happened was, right, and he doesn't agree with me, right, that the Soviet Union was sending ships over there to... Can I finish? Right, to take missiles over to Cuba. Why would the Soviet Union do that? Because NATO had put nuclear missiles in Turkey.
Foolish.
Because Turkey, it was...
Can I correct you now?
Do you know...
Can I correct you now?
Castro. They want to kill Fidel
Let's
Castro.
correct
They
him.
wanted to kill Fidel Castro.
Listen, brother. It's impossible. Listen, hold up. Listen to this, yeah? It's impossible for Russia to put in submarine or any missile in Cuba. It's impossible. Let me explain it to you.
Yeah, it might have been a load of
Wait,
propaganda.
man.
It might have
Stop.
been a load of
You're just talking.
No, we
Just
come from the
listen,
Caribbean.
bro.
We know
Just
it.
listen, bro.
We know these.
Listen.
propaganda.
You guys like to talk a lot of bully, you know? And when the real thing comes now, you don't want to hear. You want to listen or not? Okay. The reason why they don't like Cuba and the reason why they said this, right, is because the Cubans, the Jamaicans, the Barbadians, the Trinidadians,
Small islands.
with small
I
islands.
come from our road, mate, next to the Notting Hill
England
Carnival.
England is not even an island, bro. So what you're talking about?
Of course we're an
small
island.
Oh, you island?
Of course we're an island.
Wales, Scotland. And when did you create it?
What? England?
Yeah.
Well, so we got different groups
Be
living on
quiet,
it.
man, and stop
What
talking
do you
about
mean be
island. You're from an
quiet?
island, yes?
Yeah, we're an island. We're an
Right.
island people.
So what you saying about island?
Well, we are an
Who
island
put us in
people.
the island? You put us in the island.
No, no. The Jews put you there.
No, we're Jamaicans.
Jews.
We're Jamaicans.
the Jews
We got
put you
we got take from Africa and put it down there.
And who give you your freedom?
What the
Who give you your
You
freedom?
give us freedom?
Well, William Wilberforce.
Hold up, when?
What
What is freedom? Wait, what is freedom?
Well, I mean,
We fight for that.
No, what is
Who
freedom?
outlawed
We fight
slavery?
for it. We
What
fight
is
for it. I
freedom?
run
What
the
is freedom?
No, they didn't.
We
Are we
fight
free?
for it.
Are we free?
We fight for it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you pay more tax than my people?
Probably.
Oh, you can pay more tax than my people. My people been slaving for 500 years, plus paying tax today.
Yeah, well, I'm paying tax to the
You
Rothschilds.
never paid none for 500 years. We did.
No, 1815.
And you never pay us for 500.
1815.
18 with 15.
Yeah, that's when Rothschilds.
No,
took
no,
over the
no.
Federal Reserve.
18, I'm more like 1884, brother. Get your history right.
Well, I've got my history. Right.
You don't have it right.
All right.
You
Can
like
I
to
finish
talk-
up your
you wanna
first
go
question?
history? You wanna go history?
Can I finish up your
When
first
did the
question?
letter, when did England create it?
878.
878?
No, 927.
Okay. What about you put it to 937? Which one is more correct?
927.
927.
Why did you say
Okay.
937? We talked
What
about
year was
Singapore
Richard the
about-
Lion Yard?
Oh, that was well afterwards.
Not well after us, just 200 odd years. What date was Richard the Lion Yard when they changed the unicorns into the lion? What year?
But he wasn't English. He didn't even speak English.
He likes to talk, right?
Yeah, but you asked me
Listen
when
to
he was...
yourself, man.
All right.
Let's walk away.
All right, see you
Listen
later.
to
You
yourself.
don't know anything.
All right, see you later.
Assuming.
your camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.